Nah, because Cash just got back from the grocery store with enough food for a family of 4. Like, it's the 4 bags of popcorn for me. Who's eating all of this?
I'll help you eat all that, Tony. Don't worry. I can't be the only one, guys, who sometimes looks at these videos of people's shopping. And in this case, Tony and Cash from Love Island. I look at all the stuff they bought and I thought, how do you guys stay so thin when you eat stuff like that? Do you not wonder? Because I eat stuff like that sometimes and I don't stay as thin as these guys. I mean, these guys, they're thin and they manage to eat that kind of stuff. I am incredibly jealous. Jealous but healthy. I can't wait to open another packet of rice cakes. Now, contrary to what I told you in my last video, everyone, ALIMA is not doing Love Island games. She's gone online, onto Instagram Live, and said, nope, she's not doing it. Which suggests to me she might actually have been offered it, but decided, no, not for me. Good. I admire someone who can make strong, firm decisions. Which means there will be no love triangle on Love Island games between ALIMA, Ben and Ramel. So they'll just have to find someone else to form a love triangle with Ben and Ramel. Now, I know they're not in season 12, but let me also just say congratulations to Tom and Molly, who got engaged. Everyone on the internet knows this, and well done them. You know, they won Love Island All-Stars. The first season of that they won, didn't they? And yeah, they've, gosh, I mean, quite a journey really when you think about it. So well done them. I'm sure they'll have a wonderful marriage that will last for 75 years. Pretty sure this is clickbait, but Emma, Harry's ex, Emma, from season 12, decided to post with Zach from the prior, was it the prior season, Zach and Molly, or the season before? Can't remember off the top of my head. Because, you know, Zach and Molly, they're not dating anymore. But Emma clearly has her eyes on Zach, even in a jokey way. I just wouldn't be surprised if Emma really did have her eyes on Zach.
Why is everyone acting weird towards me?
No, we're not.
And we end by spending a little time focusing on Melicia. You of course remember Melicia from season 12, who came in and got in that terrible argument with Meg because she dared to speak with Dijon, etc, etc. She's been on Whitney's new podcast, It's Giving, and you can watch the full podcast on YouTube at Whitney's channel. It's about an hour long. There is a lot of talking in this podcast, but podcasts are meant for talking, aren't they? But here she talks about her Love Island experience as a woman of colour, which I found really interesting because this debate and talk about, you know, how women of colour are perceived on the show is constantly ongoing. So have a look at this and see what you think.
You're a black girl, so how would you say your experience was? And it's so crazy because your hair gives natural, so I couldn't even believe when you told me it's wigs.
I was thinking,
but what is your experience as a black... No, babe, honestly, as a black babe being in that villa?
I feel like it's a hard one because obviously it's... Everyone always says it's not that hard for like a lighter skinned person, but it actually is. Like the same struggles that a darker skin or a brown skin girl will have, I would have it. Obviously, not in the extent of sometimes what they will have.
Yeah.
But with me, sometimes it felt like, oh my God, no one fancies me. So it's like, what am I actually doing here? Like obviously some of the guys were like, oh, like she's unreal and all of that, but I don't feel like sometimes it was reciprocated.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of guys on the show, not even on the show in general, they kind of look at a beautiful woman and they objectify them. And they're like, yeah, you're beautiful, but that's all.
Yeah, you're not my type.
You're not enough to like
That's
get
crazy.
an emotional connection. You're not enough for me to pursue you romantically. You're just not.
You're just there.
You're just like, yeah, you're beautiful, but that's it.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, I feel like I can relate to that sense in Love Island. Oh,
It's
the
just
pain, the trauma.
Do you think you had to tune yourself down a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. Okay. I was holding my tongue, like even with the whole Meg situation.
Obviously what she's saying there won't shock any of you. We've had this discussion many times on my channel about the fact that, you know, girls go on the show, black girls, you know, girls from different cultural backgrounds, and they always feel like they're not perhaps as valued as the girls who come on who are white girls. And I'm just being honest here. I don't know another way to phrase it. And some people say, well, you know what, it's better if these, you know, I've seen people say it in comments, you know, black girls just shouldn't go on these shows because they're treated so badly. But the problem with that is that I think if they were to stop going on these kind of shows, then we'd have absolutely no representation at all, which I think would be very sad, but also really boring. because then you just get the same old every time. But my heart does sink in a lot of these programs when, you know, you have these girls come on and I think, you know, you're clearly an attractive woman and I don't understand why you have failed to make a connection during this season. You know, you think of all the girls in season 12 and I think, gosh, you know, Billy Kiss, Melicia was one of them, ALIMA, even though apparently ALIMA's now, you know, got something going with Ben. But I just think during the actual show, they didn't really make any great strong connections. And yet, the boys were right there. And some of the boys were completely... I'm not saying they should be forced to do it, but I just think it just baffles me sometimes as to what the other girls have that these boys think these girls don't have. I find it rather confusing. But then I appreciate that's my opinion, and people may not agree with me. Now, Melicia also spoke about how she felt things had gone since she left the villa, and how she felt there was a kind of unease in terms of the weight of offers she got compared to other contestants.
Like, coming out, I'm not where I want to be.
You feel a bit like confused?
A little bit, because I feel like certain people that came out and obviously I feel like I did make an impact even though people call me irrelevant. All right.
You're not relevant, babe. You're relevant here.
Thank you. But yeah, like obviously some people came out with like crazy amount of followers and I don't like to like watch other people.
Oh no,
because
of course.
it's not my but it's
but
like
sometimes you can't help but
it's just a human,
human nature.
Yeah. So obviously coming out, I'm comparing. It's like I'm not where I want to be, and some people didn't even make it too far, and they're like so like
that's crazy.
out there, and it's like
like selective energy.
You feel like your race comes into play.
I feel
when
like
it comes to like what you gained out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel
like coming out, obviously there was different paths for different people. Like a lot of the girls that were not my skin tone got so much like better opportunities. There's agencies rushing at them. And yeah, I just feel like it's different for Black girls and Caucasian women because it's like that's what they idolize, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that's what their image is and that's what fits them. So it's like...
Now, I was going to say that obviously what were her expectations? She wasn't in the show for that long. So I do think, you know, the shorter amount of time you're in the show, it only stands to reason that you're going to get less offers because you're just not in the show as much. You haven't come into the public conscience as much. So therefore, people won't remember you as well as they remember, you know, someone like Shakira, who was there from beginning all the way to the end. Having said that, I appreciate what she's saying. You know, other Love Island girls come out of the villa, they've only been there for a shorter time, and they seem to get better opportunities offered to them than the women of colour who come out of the show, and they kind of get these kind of not particularly good offers. They get the kind of okay stuff. Yes, there have been a few exceptions, and you can see Whitney agreeing to it there. You know, often Whitney said in that clip, I think, or a clip later on in the podcast, that when she goes to a lot of these events, she's often the only Black girl there. And, you know, again, you'd have thought that would have changed by now, but clearly things haven't moved on. So I was curious to see what Melicia said there. Again, she was honest, said she went into the show to forward her career. She wants to go into modelling, etc., etc. And in terms of forwarding your career, I'm not sure how much of an impact Love Island has anymore on those kind of careers, because I do feel like even though season 12 I thought was better than season 11, I do feel like it's perhaps just not the hit-making machine it once was. Anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. Leave your comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you want to see in Love Island in terms of the way cultures are represented and in the way, you know, Black contestants are represented? You know, what would you like to see going forward? And that's it from me today, guys. I've got other stuff I've got to do. Really important stuff. Really, really important stuff. That's so important, I can't tell you about it, all right? It's really, really secret and important. I'm picking up my kids from school. Okay, see you later. Thanks.